This is Common Sense Radio. Straightforward and no excuses.
All right. Come on now.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Call me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
What I said was perfectly right and spot on accurate.
Boy's got a mouth like a cannon, always shooting it all.
Stop.
Got it in
Yeah,
me.
stop. I mean, you're way off script.
Got it in me. Gonna quit until it all comes out.
Hey, boy!
Been a long education.
Yeah, it's not cynical. It's common sense.
Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you.
I'm gonna rock the nation. Rock the nation.
Genuine, accountable, and raw. Here is Steve Gruber.
All right, and welcome to it. It's Free for All Friday, and we're so packed today that, we just have a lot to cover. Carly Fiorina will be here with us at the bottom of the hour. Presidential candidate moving up in the polls has now officially made it to the CNN stage for the next Republican debate. Carly Fiorina, Republican candidate for president at number 3 right now in many of the national polls, which means that, she's a rising star, to say the least. She still only has about 50% name recognition. So we'll have that coming up. Also ahead, we'll have Dr. Mark Fagan here, Harvard University professor and author. Looking at the 2016 race, a different sentiment is taking over across the country, and that's the culture of Washington, what people really think of it. So we'll be getting to that. But first, we're going to take a little bit of a break because we don't want to, make it too serious for you all day. It is Friday, of course, the biggest game in Spartan Stadium in 50 years, coming up tomorrow under the lights. Michigan State hosting the University of Oregon. And, you don't want to miss that. Ivy and I are going to go out and tailgate that deal, just so you know. All right, so let's shift gears real quickly and do something a little bit more lighthearted, shall we say. Our good friend Ron Van Timmeren on the line from Celebration Cinemas. Ron, it's Friday. Welcome to it.
Good morning, Steve. Yeah, it's a lot of sports going on, and back to school, making it one of the slowest weekends of the year in the movie business. So you mentioned that Michigan State-Oregon game. We're going to show it on the big screen at Celebration Grand Rapids and in Lansing and in the Getty Drive-In in Muskegon. So a couple of options for watching your favorite team on the big screen.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, considering the tickets are like $1 billion now. So for those that can't afford $1 billion ticket, you can see it on the big screen with our good friends at Celebration Cinemas. How wonderful.
Yeah, and it's free. We can't charge for that, so we'll just put it up there. And, there's nothing like a big auditorium full of fans cheering for their favorite team. So that'll be fun. I think the big movie this weekend, Steve, will be The Visit. Director M. Night Shyamalan getting decent reviews for his new movie. They're calling it a horror comedy. I'm kind of confused by that, but I'm going to give it a try. Also, The Perfect Guy, Santa Lathan, Morris Chestnut, Michael Ealy. Of course, there is no such thing as The Perfect Guy. Just ask Ivy. But anyway, this is not all what it seems to be, too. The Perfect Guy, rated PG-13. And then a faith-based movie called 90 Minutes in Heaven. Faith-based movies, number one at the box office last weekend is War Room. This is the story of a pastor who was pronounced dead in a traffic accident and came back to life to tell his story. That's rated PG-13 as well.
So the Christian movie's making a big splash at the box office. And by the way, I am going to ask Ivy here in a second, smart pants, and we'll get to that in a second. But okay, so that's a pretty good weekend lineup. Anything else you want to throw in that you think people might want to catch before the weekend's over?
Live sports on the big screen, also boxing. Hey, Mayweather versus Berto may be his last fight. That'll be live on many Celebration Cinema screens and screens all over the U.S. Boxing live Saturday night. Next week, Wednesday, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you get to see Doctor Who in 3D on the big screen as well. Lots of choices this weekend, Steve. Check out details at celebrationcinema.com.
There you have it, everybody. It's Ron Van Timmeren. Ron, have a great weekend.
See the movies.
There you have it. All right, so that's one thing you can do this weekend. Again, the football game's going on. Michigan hosting Oregon State. The Spartans hosting the Ducks of Oregon in a big clash at Spartan Stadium of top 10 teams. And Brother Shane, well, Brother Shane's not here on Free for All Friday. No, he's tooling down the highway. with his tie-dyed T-shirt and his hemp shorts, because he's off to the music festival, and I think the hemp shorts might be a touch tight. But Brother Shane is on the line at the moment. My understanding. Shane, welcome to it.
Well, good morning, and yes, tie-dye is the prominent decoration here. You are correct.
Yeah. So where are you off to? Tell the listeners.
We're just outside of Remus, which is just about 20 miles west of Mount Pleasant for the Wheatland Music Festival. It's a lot of traditional music, folk music, some light rock, heavy rock, no hip-hop, though. And
no hip-hop.
It's really kind of cool. You can walk around. There's little people impromptu playing music. There's banjo seminars, fiddle seminars. People just having a great time. Kids running around. My wife's really excited because she's going to the hula hoop making seminar. So she's been waiting for that all year.
She's going to the what?
Hula hoop making festival or seminar. Excuse me.
That's what I thought you said. Okay, so. Mm-hmm.
Well, they have nice, big, heavy hula hoops, and they're happy. She's going to be real happy.
So, yeah, I suspect she is. So how many petitions have you seen thus far that you need to sign to legalize marijuana? That's all I want to know right now.
Well, I have noticed, and of course I don't partake, but I have noticed that within the confines of where we're at the moment, right now we're just stationed in a field getting ready to pull into the Wheatland. They don't open the gates till 10 o'clock this morning. But I would say that marijuana is borderline legal, if not perfectly legal in this environment. Just saying.
Pretty close. Well, we will know that your position on partaking and not partaking will have changed if we see you with a hula hoop. That's what I've decided. Doing the math on that. What's going on with Brother Shane? He's learning the hula hoop.
That's right. No, I enjoy watching Susan and some of the other girls are with them. They got a couple little girls they're going to take over and do that with. So
sounds like
going to be kind of seeing that.
Yeah, sounds like great fun. It's the Wheatland Music Festival. Yeah,
it's a 160-acre farm they've converted into a music just for the music festival. Camping, small trailers, a beautiful stage made out of wood. Logs. Hand-cut logs type thing. So it's really a beautiful facility up here.
It looks like the weather's going to be good for it, too.
15,000 of us here. So
that's nice little get-together. All right, and that's the Wheatland Music Festival. You said that's in the city of Remus, correct?
Remus, about 20 miles west of Mount Pleasant, right off the M20.
All right, for you listeners in the WMMI listening area there in Mount Pleasant, the heart of the state, there you have it. If you're looking for something to do this weekend or take the kids and have some fun or learn to hula hoop or buy some hemp shorts. Hey, it's all there for you at Remus. Brother Shane, just be careful. No tattoos, all right? No tattoos.
No tattoos. You know me. I'm a rebel. I don't have any tattoos.
Exactly. All right, Brother Shane. We'll compare notes on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Talk to you later.
There you have it. All right, Brother Shane out there on a Free-for-All Friday. Sign the petition here. What is that smell? That smells like, my God, it smells like marijuana. The Wheatland Music Festival in Remus. You can check it out. This part of the program brought to you by Mesa. Good health, good business, and great schools. It's Free-for-All Friday. We'll be right back.
Getting your day started with news from around the state and around the world. Common Sense Radio. This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Oh, man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day.
It's now 18 after the hour on this Free-for-All Friday. A lot to talk about politics, and like I said, I'll be talking to Carly Fiorina here in just a moment. At the bottom of the hour, I'll have about a half an hour with Carly Fiorina, who has surged to the top 3 now in a lot of the polling done. She'll be on the stage for the CNN debate. And it doesn't seem to matter who you talk to these days in America. A lot of folks, a vast majority of folks, think there's just too much money in politics, whether it's George Soros on the left or the Koch brothers on the right. Wealthy folks dump a lot of money into these campaigns, and they're not looking out for your interest or mine. They're looking out for their own self-interest. Left, right, and in the middle, it doesn't matter if they have money and they want to influence something, they can do that. And Americans think maybe it's time to change that. Mark Fagan here is a Harvard University professor and author joining us on the program to talk about the politics of money. Mr. Fagan, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, it does seem to be something we talk about a lot, hear about a lot, and yet it seems over the course of the last 5, 10, or 15 years that despite all the conversation, there's more money involved in politics today than there has been in the past. Strange phenomenon.
Well, it's not all that strange because people need money to get elected. You got to buy airtime, you got to buy flights, and on. You can imagine. You're going to be speaking with Free Arena shortly, and certainly she can attest to the funds it takes to operate. The interesting part of that, of course, is where does the money come from? You identified a couple of key sources, some very wealthy people, Soros, Koch brothers, etc. Certainly at the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of money that comes in through small donations. But there's one other area that it comes in through that's been quite controversial so far in this election season, and that's from lobbyists. Lobbyists have been attacked pretty aggressively in this campaign. Donald Trump, I think the quote is, "I don't want any lobbyists, I don't want any special interests, I don't want any strings attached." Bernie Sanders on the other side, coal and oil lobbyists are adding fossil fuels to a bill aimed at helping American manufacturers. So it's a pretty common drumbeat. And what's interesting about it is that there's a reason for it. If you need money and you're a candidate, who are you logically going to go to? Well, you're going to go to people who have a network, people who know people, and people who can generate significant amounts of campaign finance for you. And one of those sources is the lobby.
No question. You're going to a rainmaker. And if the lobbyist is the rainmaker for your campaign, that's who you're going to talk to.
Absolutely true. Now, this is not a new phenomenon. I could read. Here's a quote. Some of your listeners may remember this from not that long ago, but this one is from a presidential candidate. It says, "Lobbyists will not run my White House. They won't drown out the voices of the American people." Well, that was Obama in his campaign in 2008. It's a very common theme, and I think the reason you find this as a common theme is it resonates with people. The fact is, lobbying has somewhat of a negative reputation, big business, big money. Most people will probably remember the Abramoff scandal, a huge, black eye for Washington. And it's, for a presidential candidate, what you're trying to do is run against Washington, and these are clearly Washington insiders. I have a little bit different take on it, though. I take the view that actually lobbyists are a pretty important part of our democracy. I start from the premise that it is your constitutional right. I'm sure everyone knows in the First Amendment you've got a variety of rights. One of them is to petition the government. It's one that people have been using for 200-plus years, and I suspect will continue to use. But there's actually some real value when you get beyond the anti-Washington, anti-lobbyist rhetoric. Number one, lobbyists are a tremendous source of information for policymakers, including ultimately the president, as well as certainly Congress members. Think about the dozens, really hundreds of policy issues that face a senator or a member of Congress or the president. How can you be an expert on all those items? You can't be. And even your staff can't be. Turns out that, as President Kennedy said back in 1960, lobbyists are a pretty damn good source of insight and information on technical issues. Above and beyond that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said sure, but the question then becomes, when do they go becoming experts on information and just trying to buy their way in and buy an election, which I think is what the electorate has a problem with. Go on.
Well, here's the regarding buying an election. Look back at the past couple of elections, certainly the last election. Look at the money that was poured into the Republican candidates' coffers. Didn't end up doing very much. So you can't just look at the money. What you should look, though, at is who is providing the information. And I think the key for me as an American citizen is I want to make sure issues are fairly represented. Take health care. When the Affordable Care Act was being debated, and it certainly continues to be a hot topic now, there are representatives' voices on absolutely every side of this issue, from Big Pharma saying prescription policy should cover the cost of exotic drugs, on the other side to the insurance companies saying, no, we don't want that, that's not right, to the AARP in there saying, how are we going to protect our seniors? Most of the big issues that we face end up in having lots of seats at the table, voices at the table, and so it isn't really just about the money drowning out. In addition, we've got a new issue on the table, and that
Mark,
is
we have to leave it right there, my friend. Well, we'll have to get back to that. That's great information, and I'd like to talk very soon more about this. Mark Fagan, Harvard University professor and author. Good conversation, good stuff.
The Steve Gruber Show, American Values with Midwestern Common Sense.
Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son.
On the September the 11th, I decided, to be a little bit more positive heading out. Like I said earlier, America is the greatest nation in the world to build upon, to go forward. And that should be the takeaway today. We need to be mindful of our security and our nation and our defense and our military. All of these things are true. We need to be mindful of all of these things. But at the end of the day, let's start with the fact that we are America. The greatest experiment in self-government. A group of people that's done more to help the world than any group in history. And that's who we are. And that's where we will build from. Had a great conversation there with Carly Fiorina. I think she truly believes in America, don't you? And so many do. There are good candidates out there and good people to lead us into the future. And so that's where I'll leave you today. Hopefully the Spartans and Wolverines will pull it off this weekend, but you, my friend, just go out there and just believe in what we are. This is America, and God bless it. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Special thanks to, of course, Ivy, the executive producer, Rob Burkhardt, our associate producer, Alex Clark there, who is the engineer in the basement driving this train, and Jeff Furman, the GM of the Michigan Talk Network. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Have a great weekend, my friends. We will talk very soon.
I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime on the city of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, and we'll be there by morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling down to the sea. But all the towns and people seem to fade into a bad dream, and the steel rail still ain't heard the news. The conductor sings his songs again, the passengers will please refrain. This train got to disappear